Hi there. Thanks for joining me. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, quilting, sewing, and more. Um, my name is Nicole. I'm coming to you from Livermore, California on a very hot day. It's probably around 94 degrees right now, Fahrenheit. And it's been a little warm this week, and summer's here. And I just kind of realized as I'm getting older, if it's like above 90, it's too hot for me. Unless I'm at a lake or at the beach with the water, I'm just kind of becoming more of a fan of, I don't know, I look forward to fall and winter. Now, granted, probably wouldn't know what to do with myself as a Hawaiian Californian person with lots of snow, but I kind of like, I don't know, just kind of liking that. But anyway, so I'm kind of like happy that it's summer, but at the same time, I'm thinking, it's hot, and so it's harder to spend time outside. And you kind of want to be inside with air conditioning. But enough about that rant. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. Thanks for checking out my podcast. I hope you enjoy it. Just hanging out with me, talking about craftiness and what we're doing, and sharing what we're learning. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. I hope you're doing well. Sorry for the delay on my podcast again. Um, I really did have plans to podcast last weekend, but it was Father's Day weekend, and my husband's been kind of working on some projects to soundproof the garage so that they can, or I can, because I play drums too, but which I haven't been out playing drums in a while. Been a little preoccupied. Um, but to kind of so that we can play in the garage and not worry about too much noise penetrating our neighborhood, and also trying to maybe help with keeping it a little cooler in there. So with that being said, the last few weeks have been kind of helping my husband and that kind of stuff, and so I didn't want to take away time that I could be helpful for him on Father's Day. And then we had our son and his girlfriend over on Sunday for Father's Day, so that was a day of family. Like literally, like they showed up at like 1:30, and it was like 11. I'm like, yeah, we're tired. We're old. And they're like, okay, you look tired. We got to work tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, we do too. So it was a really long day, but it was great that they wanted to hang out so long. And we enjoyed that time together. But anyways, let me move on to some things. I'm going to throw up a slide here that's going to mention how you can follow me on Ravelry. There's a podcast group for this Nicole's Creative Adventures podcast where we label, sorry, my husband's out in the yard, so in case you see me being distracted. I'm like, what is he doing? And there's also, you can find me on Instagram as well. And moving right along, for those of you that wanted a little bit of a snapshot of my Israel trip, that will be at the end of this episode. So for those of you that didn't, that one, don't care, and two, weren't aware of it, don't worry, I'm not going to throw it out until the end of the podcast for those who wanted to kind of see what my trip was like and some pictures and that kind of stuff. But first things first is we have a prize giveaway for the Knit Beyond Expected knit along that I did in my podcast group, where people were going, people can join the knit along by choosing something, whether it's a project, a technique, a yarn, or whatnot. But basically, they had not planned on knitting when they kind of put their year goals together at the beginning of the year. And so for me, it was knitting a toy. Like I did not, one, I've never knit a toy before, and I was not planning on knitting a toy. This year was not on any of my 2016 crafty goals in any which way, knitting, quilting, any of that kind of stuff. And then in like April, it just was like, I want to knit my first toy. So that's what I did. I'll show you my toy in a second. He's going to be in my finished objects thread. This is a podcast, so it's not thread. But I do have a winner, and give me 1 second because my podcast notes or the wrong one. Here we go. So Cheryl's in my Ravelry group. She's awesome. She's participated in past CALs, but Cheryl was not planning on trying the Afterthought heel. And so she said, you know what, I'm going to give that a go. And not only did she do it once with one pair of socks, but she ended up doing two within the time of our knit along, which was 2 months. So Cheryl, who is just chill 922 on Ravelry, she gets to choose between 3 skeins of yarn, or, and I had said this as a quilter, like if you are a quilter or if you like to sew, that I won't always just use yarn as a giveaway. So you can either choose a set of 8 fat quarters that I'm going to show, or one of these skeins yarns. So here's the fabric first. I'm getting a little bit of delay on my recording, so hopefully that's not coming through and it's just my computer doing that. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so this I believe is Art Gallery fabric, and this is the collection. I'm going to go ahead and just show this has got a lot of blues and pinks, some neutrals, some teals, florals. Little geos, more geometrical. And then this really cute, like, kind of like a plaid, but it's not a plaid. So I should have looked this up ahead of time, but it's okay because I'll look right now. So I can tell you what collection it's from. It's Pat Bravo's Dare collection. And so there are 8 fat quarters in that. So if that's something that you're interested in, 8 fat quarters actually can make a really nice size baby quilt. Or you can combine it with other fabrics and make all kinds. I'm getting some delay, so I'm going to stop my recording and see if this is being affected. Okay, so I have restarted my computer. Apparently it looked like my software updated today, and maybe that's what's causing the lag. It's supposed to make it run more smoothly, not do what it's doing right now, but it's doing something. So hopefully we don't see any more lag from my camera. Okay, so Eugene, he is now part of the family. Eugene was made using Cascade Yarns 220 Superwash. Superwash, so this little guy can go in the washing machine. And this is how much I have left. Quite a bit. I think I could probably maybe even make another, like his twin, with what I have left over. Not sure I'll do that. I think I'll leave this. I did like knitting with this, and maybe if I make another toy, if I need to use some of this. Very similar to my shirt. It's a warm gray color, which I really liked. I didn't want to go with a cool gray. I wanted to go with kind of a warm gray. Now, back to the embroidery floss loss. I never found it. So I ended up finding this really deep blue silk, 100% Chinese silk embroidery floss. I have tons of it. My mother-in-law at one point was working on embroidering this panel that I think she was going to put on, like, she had this really nice chair, and then she had this stool that went, you rest your feet on it. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's like a stool, but there's an actual name for it. I'm not thinking of it right now. But she was going to embroider that and then reupholster that with her embroidered fabric that she had done and never finished. And so she one day came by and said, "Hey, did you ever want that?" And I was like, "I don't know if I'll ever do that." But now I'm thinking there might be somebody out there that might do that. So yeah, I might do a giveaway or something. Because I mean, there's tons of silk. It's all this one color because, for right now, but I don't know, this might be someone's alley and they want to finish this. But I know my mother-in-law spent like hundreds of dollars on that silk and then on the panel. So we'll see. I have to look into it. But anyways, I just took a little skosh and I did his eyes because they're not black. I wanted to do black or dark gray, but this, look, you can't tell. And I think it goes with the gray. So he doesn't have a home right now, but at one point he will. I mean, he has a home here, but he is more likely going to be loved by a little kid one day. So that's one finished project. My first toy. How awesome is that? And the next finished object is my Great Divide Shawl by Michelle Brown. Oh, I forgot to mention, my toy was a pattern by Susan B. Anderson from her We Ones Craftsy class. And so basically, if you like this guy, basically the body is the same for all three patterns that come with that class. One is for the elephant, so this head is specific to the elephant, of course. Then there's a hippo, and he has special head. And then there's a bunny, and obviously his head looks differently. And the tails are all different, but from the neck down, besides the tail, are all the same, which is really nice because the body is super easy. I know that the elephant's head is the most intricate because of all the decreasing, and then the ears were super easy. I love knitting the ears, but really, really cool. And then you can see the decreasing on the back of the head and stuff like that. So if you like the elephant, great. If you like bunnies, or the hippo is really cute too, you could just make all three of these guys and then make a little I want to say jungle party, but bunnies, especially the one that we knit up, he looks like he's more of a forest bunny or a field bunny, not necessarily a jungle bunny like you would see elephants and hippos in. So, all right. Great Divide Shawl. Excuse me. So Great Divide Shawl by Michelle Brown. I got this pattern on Ravelry. I believe it's a paid for pattern. Can't remember right now. The main color, so you pick two colors. Actually, you can pick three if you wanted to do the end piece separate color. You totally can. But for me, I chose just to do two colors. And my main color is Madeline Tosh DK. Where? Okay. I might have run. I don't think I ran out. What did I do with the rest of this color? Okay. Anyways, I might have almost run out of this. I did modify the pattern by adding more rows so that I can get a bigger shawl. But all I see is my contrasting color, and this is all that's left. Now, I know I have at least this much of the other one. I just don't know what I did with it. It just disappeared. But here is my let's just do this. My Great Divide Shawl. It is a little warm outside, so you will not be seeing me wearing this baby for a little while, but normally I tuck it under, but my ponytail is in the way. Not happy with my camera right now. Thinking this update ruined my videotaping. Okay, might have to get a different software. It's having a hard time making the changes. So this is my Great Divide Shawl. Obviously, I'm not doing a good job right now of putting it on, but this is it. I like it. I started this on the plane going to Israel, Palestine. I think I got like this much done. And then I came back and I started working on it. This is a super... Sorry, Siri just started talking to me. I wasn't talking to you. Talking to my friends. Okay. It's an easy knit. So if you're looking to, this is an excellent new shawl pattern. Like if you're new to shawls, the other thing is it's a really quick knit because this yarn is, I hope you guys laugh at me. I hope you realize, like, I try to be so organized and then I yawn and I get tired but this contrasting yarn is, it's called You Need Color. You Need Colors Shepherd Wool, whatever that means. I bought this at a local yarn shop. I did buy it in a, let's see, it's a tonal, really pretty color. And then the Madeline Tosh is the contrasting yarn that you see here. That's a variegated. And you just find, gosh, what a doofus head. That's so weird. What did I do? I know that I didn't have the tag for this baby, but I did have it in Ravelry, so I remember what it was. But the Madeline Tosh one, out with the old and with the new, I guess, when it came to the project being done. When blocked it, and who knows where it went. But this is a worsted to Aran weight. I wouldn't go full Aran weight, but it's a worsted weight. So 2 skeins of worsted. And then I chose, I love this little eyelet border. I just think it's super cute. I don't know if you can totally see it. You see the light coming through it. But I just chose to, this could be thicker, by the way. So I ended up with more rows to make the shawl a little bigger. And then I went with a shorter final border just because I wasn't sure if I'd have enough to do like another row and bind off. So didn't want to play chicken, you know what I mean. So I like this. This is so warm. Like, I'm like, I wouldn't be wearing it now, but I'm really looking forward to wearing this in the winter and in the fall because it's really, 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 really warm. I have a lot of like fingering weight shawls. Now, I wouldn't say a lot because I'm kind of a new knitter, but I have enough of those that, and then I have some cowls that are very airy because they have a nice lace pattern, and I can bunch those up, but this is a very thick fabric, and so this will keep me really warm. So yay, Great Divide shawl, awesome. I recommend it as a knit. I will definitely knit it again. In fact, I think the next time I knit it, I'll even consider doing the 3 colors. But I think I want to do more of a contrast difference. So like maybe 2 solids that are completely different. But yeah, like that. I was, instead of knitting socks, which is what I normally knit, by vanilla socks, when I'm watching TV or I'm chilling out, this was just as easy. I mean, you memorize the pattern row basically that causes that really cool twisted stitch looking thing, and then the rest of them are knit and purl and then a knit. You know what I mean? So and you never get lost on where you're at because of it's so simple. So recommended if you haven't done it. Easy knit, quick knit. If you're looking for a nice shawlette, it's obviously not a full shawl size, but you could, if you wanted to get more yarn, like 2 skeins of each color, you can make a pretty duty heavy shawl, and it's easily upgradable and customizable to whatever size you want, obviously, right? As you can tell. All right, so those are my 2 finished projects. I have not touched my Merlot shawl, so I'm not even going to show it. But now that this shawl is done, like that's the other shawl that I need to finish, and I'm just on the plaid border, so I'm literally almost done. It's just the plaid border is work. Takes a while, but it's going to be gorgeous when it's done. So 2 pairs of socks I'm working on. First one in my really colorful bag that I made is my vanilla socks, but my first self-striping yarn. And so this is by Ullering Books. It's a British accent. Ullering Books. Coloring Book yarns. And this colorway is called Sweet Tooth, 400 yards, fingering weight, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And here's the baby wound up. And I have one done. So and see this down here is where I left off last time. So when you last saw me, I had knit all the way down the cuff, did the heel turn, and I was in this, just about to hit this red color right here. And since then, I've knit all the way here. And this was all knit while walking my dog. Well, he walks me kind of, like he's attached to my little belt thing that I have that also holds my phone, and then I clip on my, there's more lag, and I clip on this bag, which is like it's super lightweight, and it has a little loop so that your thread feeds nicely through it, so I can knit, and walk my dog at the same time. And so I knit all this walking the dog this past week, and last week a little bit too. So this one's done. I'm liking it. It's my first self-striping yarn. I wasn't too sure like where to start, where to end, how it would play out, but I actually really like how the yarn kind of, this like the yellow kind of separated. Can't even do it. It's reverse of what I'm thinking or looking at, but right here. And then I got this cute little toe. So I literally just started this yesterday, and I'm already noticing that I think the yarn is almost identical, but there was a little bit difference. But all I have now is this guy. And so I'm knitting these on my 2.25 millimeter double point needles. I believe these are my ChiaoGoo's. I'm a huge fan of these needles. That's all I got so far. So, and this I knit at home because I'm done with the ribbing. I did a short rib with these. I'm not a huge person on ribbing. Like, ribbing to me feels weird on socks. So my ribbing is usually an inch or under. But I'm knitting a pair of socks. So my second socks that I'm working on are for my mom. And I think they'll fit her. It's my first time knitting socks for somebody other than myself or my husband. And so this yarn is Sweet Georgie Yarns Tough Love Sock in the Cloud Break colorway. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 425 yards. But I am knitting these on the 6-inch circular needles. And let's talk about that. Where did it go? I literally just cast this off. Or cast it off. I close up the toe. Wait, where did it go? Oh my gosh. This is what happens when you've got so much. There it is. I had purchased a pair of these needles. Sorry for all the noise. In fact, I have them right over here. The Hiya 2.5. There's like they're actually sitting in the back, but I picked these guys up on Amazon. Actually, I didn't pick them up; they came to me, and I started knitting with them. And I was like, I don't know if I like these. Like I was having a hard time. Now, granted, I probably could do a better job with them now that I feel like I've mastered them on the new ones. The new ones I got were the ChiaoGoo's. Let's see if I have the bag for that. I believe it's this one. ChiaoGoo's stainless steel, and these have the lace knitting, which I love this red cord, and I really like these. Well, one thing is the difference between these two, and there's a video on YouTube which I'll link in my show notes. What's her name? Okay, I'll be my show notes. But anyway, she has a podcast where she teaches tips and tricks and she shows you how to knit things. Well, anyway, she did a whole tutorial on, she had purchased 5 or 6 different brands of 6-inch circulars, and she basically purchased them so that we didn't have to, and she reviewed them. And these were her favorite because the shank here on this needle is longer, not by a lot, right? But just enough. And for my, like, I have small hands, but I have Hawaiian hands, and so we have, like, I call them fat fingers, sausage fingers, almost like German fingers, but they're not, because I'm also German. So, and this was enough to make it so much easier. Now, granted, when you start a sock from the cuff up, um, you have ribbing and purling on these babies stinks, but it's worth getting through. Now, here is the sock that I finished my mom. I knit this, I want to say completely, but it's not completely, because I didn't knit the heel turn and the heel flap on the Chow Goose, on the circulars, but I did knit the cuff down to the heel, and then once I turned the heel and got it back to my normal, because I cast on 64 stitches, so once I got back to 64 stitches, I knit all this with the circular, and then I used my double point needles for the heel and then for the decreases in the toes, which is fine. I didn't feel like it added any time, but I'll tell you what, I was here when I started this sucker, and I got all this done with it. Not that I'm like saying I didn't like monogamously knit on this sucker, but man, like once just to do your longer portions of the sock, this was so much faster. You definitely are faster, right? Because you're not having to switch needles. Yeah, you get used to kind of moving the stitches. I think if I had stitched maybe for a male, where you have more stitches on the needle, 64 stitches, you pretty much are constantly moving your stitches over so you can get a nice flow. I wouldn't, like if I had a knit, what's the other size I do? If I do like a small foot, extra small skinny foot, or if I'm using a thicker yarn, I'll do less stitches. It's probably around 58 or 56. It'd be a little like you'd always be moving your yarn so that they don't feel tight and then it flows really fast. But if you had more stitches, I can see that this would be really, really fast. So I probably will stitch my dad's socks on these babies. But anyways, here is the first sock. This is on a medium sock blocker, where this one is on a small. I wear small. You'll see that this one is a little bit longer and a little bit bigger. I did give my mom an inch cuff at least. She's got skinny ankles like me, but she wears a size 7, 7.5, I believe. So these are a little longer. I think the medium size would be great for her. This is like one of those blues that my mom really likes. I like how this pooling came out. They almost, like, it's called cloud break. And so in certain places, it kind of, to me, it looks like the clouds or the blue sky, and then the clouds are here. So I like how it turned out. Not they yet. I have not even, as you could tell, I literally finished this today. Have not casted on my second one, but I think the thing is I'm going to go ahead and knit the cuff on my circular, and then do what I did last time, which was to go to here, move on to DPNs, do my heel flap, do my heel turning, get down, decrease to 64, get on my circular needles, and then bust out the toe on DPNs and little Kitchener stitch, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to go, once I finish this other one, I'm going to put that in Andre Sue Knits. She has a knit along going for trying out these babies, and I have to say, at first I was thinking, but I can't do everything just on this, and I wouldn't recommend, unless you're like super skilled, to do the whole sock on this sucker. I don't know how you can. You'd have to get another one, or yeah, to get, you know what I mean? So I'm liking it. So have I decided that I'm only? Well, you'll notice I'm not, right? I probably will always have a pair of socks on one of these and then have another pair on my DPNs. Um, Especially if I was going to do a pattern sock, like, no, thank you. Vanilla sock, yes, please. You know what I mean? So I hope if you're contemplating trying 6-inch circulars for socks, I hope that this was something that maybe helped you um, lean towards your way, whether you want to do that or not. So if you have any questions, let me know. But I am looking forward to casting on my second sock. And I was really impressed on how fast. At first I was thinking, and then I think the key, I think it's called Very Pink. I'm trying to think what's your face's name. Very Pink Knits, I think it is. It has a YouTube tutorial and everything on this. But the one tip that I think was revolutionizing, like the way that I was knitting with those babies, was relax. Do not overgrip your needle. Because they're small, you feel like, eh. The other thing is, I don't feel like I drop stitches at all because there's only one side, there's only one place, and it's right where your two needles come together, where the stitches are laying loose. And so you're less likely to drop stitches, and you're less likely to get them kind of off of the needle in transit in your bag and whatnot. So I never even used, some people will put, what are they called? Needle point ends, the ends that you would put on your needle ends, especially on a circular needle, so that the stitches don't fall off. Never had to do that because they were taut enough. Never had a problem. Okay, enough about that. The last work in progress, which is brand spanking new, is also a first for me. Also first for me, and that is my first baby sweater. So the yarn, I have this one, is, and I don't know if I know I could say it, but or pronounce it. Filatura di Crosa. It's made in Italy. Zara Plus Color. That was French, not Italian accent. 100% Lana Virgin. Extra fine merino superwash. Yes, because this is for a baby. And I'm using 3 skeins of this baby. The color is 3. Very creative. But here is, I got these, maybe, I got these on clearance online. I think it might have been Knit Picks, or what's the other one? I think it was Knit Picks. Okay. I love this. So this is all I have left. It's kind of bundled up. It's been in a bag. But this is the yarn. It's an Aran weight. And I'm pretty sure I have enough to finish the arms, and that's all I have to do. But here's what I got so far. So this is, you pretty much, you knit in your buttonholes as you're starting this. I'm going to have 3 little buttons here. I haven't picked them yet. I'm thinking wood, but maybe not because of cool colors. But, and so you'll see I have the arms on, gosh, it's Sunday. I have the yarns on, there's a name for it. Of course, the yarn that I'm using is the leftover from my shawl. Waste yarn, hello. So the yarns are, the arms are on waste yarn. I'm about to pick them up. Well, the problem was is that I didn't have 8-inch, because I knit this all on an 8-inch circular. I think it was a 16-inch, but I need to cast on and the round these little sleeveys, and a 16-inch is too long, so I thought, oh, I'll just use some double pointed needles. Oh, I don't have an 8-inch double pointed needles, so I'm going to pick some up at my local yarn shop. I have some credit to my account, but I believe I'm going to purchase some marbles. I'm really enjoying these marbles. These are 6s, but they're so lightweight, and so I knit these, I believe I knit my toy out of these babies right here, and I loved them. They were because you have very few stitches. You don't want heavy needles, and I enjoyed that. And they're not very expensive, so I'm thinking I'll purchase the size 8. I think I have 6 and 7 now. I'm gonna get 8s, and I'll cast on these arms, and then I'm gonna pick out some buttons, weave in the ends, and it's got a little rib on the bottom, just a plain back. But I really like. I think he's so cute, and the fabric is very squishy and warm. And so obviously this is not for a baby right now that would fit in this because they're going to grow. By the time we'd prefer them to wear it will be in like the winter. So I'm just happy. This knit up really fast too. So I would definitely see myself making another one of these. And I'm probably thinking I'll probably do some striping, like now that I've done shawls where I've knit with multiple colors. I don't think I have a problem kind of just adding my own design to it. But what's nice about this fabric or this yarn is that it creates a nice texture and coloring look, and it's got some, I don't know if you can see it up close, but some greens and some yellows and some whites. Just super cute. Super cute. So that's exciting. I think it's exciting. So a new toy. I did think that I wanted to knit a baby sweater or at least a sweater. So that counts. I'm not finished, but that was one of my goals this year. And once I finish the other 2 socks, I'll have 2 pairs done. I'll be on speed for knitting 12 pairs of socks this year, which is great. But, oh, I didn't tell you about that sweater. So it's by Nomad Yarns, the pattern. A simple baby pullover by Erica Kempf Burdotton, Broughton. There we go. And I believe it's a free pattern. You can find it on Ravelry. And like I said, I'm using 3 skeins. I believe there are 5 sizes, and I'm knitting. There's the extra small, the small, the medium. I'm knitting the small, and they have to do with. Why don't I look that up real quick for you? Age. So, I mean, obviously your baby might be a little smaller or larger for its age group, but the size I knit, approximate age was like 6 to 12 months, which I think that's about right, depending on the size of the kid, right, of the little guy. So if I had done the smallest size, it would be 0 to 6 months, and I bet it would be just adorable. But I thought I had those 3 skeins of yarn, and I'm never going to be able to get another one of these yarns. I like how this has gotten such a mess in my bag. So I wanted to make sure I can use as much of it. And since I didn't have an idea of who I'm going to give this to right away, because right now all my friends are having girls, then when the opportunity arises, I'll have one of these that I can give away. And I used up all the yarn. I'm kind of picky about that. I don't like to waste, especially if I can't use the other one. And because it's Aran weight, you only get so much yarns out of a skein. So enough about that. Back to show notes. Quilting. Okay. Some progress on my quilting, but no, I didn't bring it over. I'm going to show you next time. But so I was literally going to. I finished the border on the quilt for my friend Colby, who had her little girl this weekend. This week, I think it was Friday. Her birthday is today. Happy birthday, Colby. I'm really excited about the quilt. It's looking really cute. I went and purchased backing fabric yesterday at my local quilt shop, and I think I found something that works really well. I mean, it's not from the same design, I didn't, the same fabric line, but the coloring is similar and it's quite cute. But then I got home and then I was like, oh crap. That's what I was going to say, so I might as well say it. I used white fabric for a lot of the background in this quilt, and so you do not use the neutral batting, which is the most commonly used batting, for when you have white, because then you can see the specks of cotton or whatever they use for the batting, natural cotton, which has less dyes in it and things like that, which is really great. But you can see the specks of cotton and the little dark specks in there, and that will show up through your white fabric. So what I needed is the bleached white batting. So didn't have any that was big enough for the quilt. Actually had some that would be for a really small baby quilt, but this quilt was bigger, so it wouldn't have worked. So I just ordered some on Amazon. I was too lazy to drive to Joann's. I kind of wanted just to craft at that point, and I just had run a whole bunch of errands, and I think I was just frustrated that I didn't know that I needed that. That was my bad. So that's coming in the mail, I believe, tomorrow. So I can start basting that quilt and start quilting it. And the goal is that should be definitely done by the time I have my next podcast, because I want to get that to the baby right away. And I'm okay with not gifting a quilt before a baby is born. If it happens, great, like especially if it's by a baby shower time. But my other good excuse is that, oh, I got a quilt for you, I have to come and see the baby. And then we have to put her on the quilt and I take a picture of it. See? There's some selfishness in there. So, and I like to collect pictures of the actual kids on their quilts. So, in fact, this would be a really good time to embed a picture of my best friend Chrissy's kids, who she had twins, a boy and a girl, a while back, because you'll see the kids are older now, but they love their quilts, and I made one for each of them, and they're unique, completely unique to them. And they were both done, Sydney's especially, and so Sydney and Mason. Mason's is all done by machine applique, because they're bigger pieces. Sydney's is machine applique too, but I think there's a little bit of hand applique. But hers has tons of applique. And I'm like, looking back, I spent so much time on those quilts, like so much time on those quilts. And I think I've got a little lazy lately, and I'm into the quick and dirty. And that's just kind of the ebb and flow with quilting. It's not that I don't want to spend the time on it, but I think you just wait for that one pattern to come out or that idea to pop in your head, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go crazy on this. I'm gonna spend the time. And I just haven't been there lately. Most of my creative time is going into knitting, and so I kind of was just thinking about that yesterday, because the other thing is I was working on the other quilt, and I was going to, because I couldn't baste the baby girl quilt for Colby, but I was disappointed in what I was doing with that quilt. And I'm like, now I bordered the blocks with pink fabric, and now how am I going to put them together? I didn't even think about it. Like, I bordered them all instead of every other so that they would fit like a puzzle, just because I was like on a rampage with quilting. I was just like quilting, or sewing or piecing, And now I'm like, now I need to put a border within those, to separate them, so it's not pink to pink. And so that's more work. So I was not in the mood for that. I just wanted to get to something more enjoyable than that. So I don't know. Do you guys go through those times where you feel like you're putting a lot of work into something and then it doesn't quite turn out, or it's, you weren't thinking ahead enough, or you got busy, and you're like, I don't know if I want to spend the time on that right now. It's kind of deflated me, so I'm gonna put my attention somewhere else. And for me, that just meant picking up my needles and knitting on something. But anyways, thanks for listening to that. That was kind of boring. Why don't we show you some new stuff that I got? All Witches yarn. So we are now in stash advancement section of my podcast. Oh, nope, spinning. So I didn't spin these last couple weeks, but I did. I spun, hello, I did. I spun one day, and I do have to say that my spinning is getting better. I'm a new spinner. I haven't even knit with anything I spun yet. I haven't been happy with anything This is a, let me pull this. I'm really enjoying being part of this fiber club. It is Sweet Georgia Yarns, and she has a fiber club. It's called the SGY Club, and this was the April fiber called Eden. And what I like about her is every month she sends with her fiber the name of it and then the story about how she came up with the coloring and how she wanted to do the blend. She does recommendations of how to take care of it, spinning thoughts section that talks about how she would probably spin it and some ideas with it. So I really like that. So this was the fiber. It's kind of over there, so I'm not going to grab it. But this is what I have so far. And don't laugh, but it's getting better. Like my other fiber, like there's more consistency here, and I don't know if you can totally tell, and you can also see where the twist didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but maybe not. It's coming along. Like I feel like that I could spin up another bobbin of this. I mean, I gotta finish this off because I split it in half. And I could play these two babies together, and I think I might be able to knit something out of this. Oh, what I didn't tell you, this was BFL in silk, 75% blue face Leicester, and 25% silk. I like BFL. I think it's because of the silk. There are two different textures, which is what's giving me a little bit of an issue. And I'm spinning this, I'd say it's kind of a combination like long draw and what was the other one? I can't remember. Just the thing you learned, the basic. As you can tell, spinning is not where my forte is. But hey, I'm trying. And it is really relaxing. I do find myself going too fast. I tend to want to pedal fast. So fast that, yeah, just too fast. I need to get more of a nice groove. I don't know if it's as a drummer or I'm at a constant tempo. Like when I'm knitting, I mean when I'm spinning, it's constant. Like it's like a heartbeat. It's a really fast heartbeat. I need to get it. I need to get down to a relaxed tempo. And I think that will give me more time to feel like I'm being more consistent. I don't know what it is, but I also like to tap my foot. I'm a music person, so so maybe I just have really strong ankle muscles and they just like to move, but that's what I need to work on is just slow down. And actually what I probably should do, because I'm usually listening to like audiobooks, is probably put music on that has a consistent tempo so that I'm keeping up with that, staying with that, because I'll stay when there's music going. I will stay with the tempo. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I just figured out my problem. Okay, that was spinning. Now, new yarn. There is a new store I discovered in Walnut Creek, California. I was actually going out there. We actually have a campus out there for work and in one of our churches. And I was going to have some dinner with some of my leaders. And traffic was going to be going towards Walnut Creek from where I'm from in Livermore during the afternoon, like during peak traffic time, is not a fun trip. Like it'll take you longer than it should. So what I did was I left work a little early and head out there to beat the bumper to bumper stuff. But then I was gonna have a good hour where I was good. I was free. So I thought, I wonder if there's a yarn shop out there. Sure enough, literally a couple blocks from the neighborhood that I was going to be hanging out that night. And it's called Fashion Knit. And I'll link in the address and that because she has an online website. But Janine Johnson is the shop owner. She is known as the Knitress, which I just love. She is the Knitress. And she also is, she dyes her own yarn. And so this is her, I think she's dyed yarn for a little while, but now she's dyeing and selling in her store. and so she's dying at a larger rate. And so I bought a couple skeins of her yarn. I didn't buy any other yarn there. I just thought I want to try out her yarn. And she had some fingering, she had some worsted, she had some good sport weight, she had, I want to say bulky, but maybe an Aran weight. She has like this 100% cashmere. I mean, there was some really luxury yarns that I was like, I don't know what I want to knit with it right now, so I didn't get. So I ended up with a sock yarn and then a skein of worsted that I'm going to make this really cool cable cowl for my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law tends to do a lot of outdoorsy things, and she snow skis and she kayaks, so I thought maybe she would enjoy something that she can wear to keep her neck warm. And then that's going to be her Christmas gift. I don't think she watches my podcast, so. But she also wears a lot of neutral tones, and she's a blonde. She has blue eyes. So I thought, the bluish green, blue eyes, I think. And so I thought this color was really pretty. It's kind of subdued, but it's got those olive green, this really pretty blue, and a cream color. And their worsted is like a true worsted. It's very squishy. It's very soft. This is Fashion Knit. This is the Knittress worsted base. It's 100% merino wool, 185 yards. And so I think this would be exactly what I need for the cowl. I don't remember I put it on my Ravelry page as future project, but so that's that. And the colorway, she doesn't. So this thing was like, oh, I think because she's doing so many new colorways, she hasn't named them. But there's no dye lot for any of the stuff she's doing right now. She's just dyeing up a bunch and selling them. So they're kind of one of a kinds right now. But the but the color is 21025. The other one I specifically got because I wanted to knit, what's that little pixie? The pixie hat. I believe Melissa from the Spicy Homemaker, her daughter has one of these, and I think what's her face from Sock. She's the crazy sock knitting lady that I love. She's hilarious. She's also a quilter. I'm totally blanking right now, but I don't remember names. Faces, yes. Names is not my forte. I'll run into someone and I'll see their face and I go, I know you from somewhere. And in most cases, I can tell you where it was and when it was, but I will never remember your name unless we've hung out like multiple times. You know what I mean? So, anyways, this is the Fashion Knit Sakatumi fingering. The color is 21231, and it's 80% merino, 20% nylon, machine washable, of course. And I think this is a super fun color. I think this would make a really cute pixie hat for a little girl. The lighting isn't so great right now, but this is like a magenta pink, which I think it's coming up. This citron-y neon yellow, this awesome turquoisey blue, then a blue. There's some shots of yellow in there. Really cute. So I just saw this and I thought that looks fun. This would make great socks too. But I think I'm gonna probably save it for pixie hat. So those are the two skeins I got from there. And Janine seems really cool. She has a YouTube page as well, and so she's beautiful, gorgeous woman, and she's like, I think she's in her 50s. I said, girl, you look good. And she's like, well, you know. So she's always knitting. She used to be a flight attendant during 9/11, and she ended up retiring from that and opening a yarn shop. But she taught herself to knit without looking. During 9/11, they would make people sit. You know, you couldn't wander on. Well, not during 9/11, but right after it. Getting up out of your seat, other than go to the bathroom, was like, that was it. You know, we were on heightened security level, and so her job was literally to sit in the back and watch the cabin from the back and keep her eye on what was kind of going on, if anything looked suspicious. Well, with doing that, she had to watch Well, she would knit. She taught herself to knit and not look because she had to watch the cabin. And she got really good and really fast at it. And so at this point, she was saying, like, she goes to the gym and she does the treadmill and she does the bicycle and she knits while she works out. And she's like, she'll be there for a long time and she'll work out, and that's how she stays in shape. And so that reminded me, like, oh yeah, like I knit and walk at the same time, and that's not too hard. But I was like, I don't know about a knitting on a treadmill, especially if you're trying to go pretty fast. But then when she said, oh, the bike, and there's a special name for it, but so when you sit in and your legs are in front of you, like I could totally knit doing that. So I told myself, if it's hot or the weather's not good or I'm not gonna be able to take the dog out, I have no excuse because I can go to the gym and work out and knit. So just throwing that out there, guys, like, because knitting is pretty sedentary. Like, you tend to just chill out and knit, but you can also knit and move. So thank you for listening to that. Let me pull up my notes again. They went night-night. I got my June Sunrise Fiber Co. monthly sock club. It's called Twisted MCN Sock in Bourbon Rose. It's a really pretty color. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's a pretty color. Definitely can see this being in a shawl. So it's MCN is superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon. 400 yards. So really pretty. It's very February, very springy to me. I really like it. I've really enjoyed the fiber that I've gotten from this sock club that I'm part of. In fact, I joined it. I think I've done 2 installments of it. It's like 3 months installment. So I love that. And then the next thing I got was my May, because this always kind of comes a little later, my May Homespun House Jane Austen Sock Yarn Club installment. And this is on the Bakken base. It's a fingering. It's 75% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 5% nylon, 400 yards. This coloring is just gorgeous. I haven't seen anything like this before, I don't think, in person. So it's got these purples and this awesome, like, pine foresty green, some black, little specks of like goldenrod, and it's really pretty. And then this really cute teacup stitch marker. And the name of this colorway is But Indeed, I Would Rather Have Nothing But Tea, which is from Jane Austen books, of course. And to tell you the truth, I don't know which book, because although I'm a fan, I'm not an obsessed fan where I would actually know what that is. So I bet somebody is probably going, Nicole, it's from this book. I'll go find out. But I think this is really pretty. It's very soft. And then, literally, as I was writing in my show notes on Friday to prepare for this podcast, usually this comes registered mail, things from the Homespun House. So if I'm not home, then I have to go pick it up at the post office, right? And I have the last few items I've gotten. But that day I saw my I want to say postman, but post lady walk by, and I go, oh, the mail must have come. There my package was. She didn't knock. They just left it. But I was cool with it because I didn't have to go to the post office. But good thing it's not like something super valuable. But anyways, nonetheless, I got my June installment. That one came fast. So normally they've been coming, because they're coming from Germany, I'm getting it the month after, like 2 weeks into the month after the month that it's supposed to kind of arrive, right? This one I got early. It's not even the end of June. So she must have got these babies out. So this one is the Olsen fingering, 75% merino, 25% nylon. It looks like a single fingering, and the color is Mr. Darcy's Letter. And this color is very pretty. Look how rich that is. And it's little, see the little stitch markers in envelope or letter, both. So very pretty. May, June, and my April, which was the first month, was gorgeous as well. I've been super happy with all three colorways. In fact, they're gorgeous. So love that. And the last yarn I have to share, I purchased on Boom and Vine Yarns in one of her updates. It's her footsie base, and she showed this on her podcast before, and she had said she didn't know what she was going to call this. It was like an experimental, so it's a one of a kind. 80% super wash Blueface Leicester and 20% nylon, 400 yards, and she ended up calling it Je ne sais quoi. I don't know, but I just liked it because it was very auburny and autumn, and so I'm thinking this might make a really nice shawl or something with it for the fall. It's got burgundies, it's got like caramely tan colors, some red, dark brown, light browns. Yeah, it's just really pretty. So, I don't know. I just saw it and I thought there were like 3 colors I wanted, and this was the only one that stayed in my cart. By the time I checked out, everything else had already gone. So, I was under the impression, I guess I haven't purchased from her in a while, but that she had put, like, once you put it in your cart, you have like 3 minutes to check out, and if you don't, it goes back. But that wasn't the case, so I'm thinking she probably revoked that. Maybe too many people complained there was nothing to put in their cart. I don't know. So, anyways, I'm a new owner of 6 more skeins of yarn. I'm a little obsessed, but I've cut back. I literally discontinued 3 clubs, yarn clubs that I was part of. One was a mini skein club, and then 2 were a sock club, because I have too much yarn. I also discontinued my Pink Castle Fat Quarter Club that I've been part of for almost 2 years now because I have too much fabric. And I just realized that I'm at this phase where let's just calm down a little bit and let's just use what we have and get as we need. And because like the fabric I usually get is online. It's like a collection I like. And so now I'm like, you know what, let's use your stuff you have. And then you go to your local quilt shop to buy the odds and ends that you need to finish your project, and not just go and buy random fabric. So I've gotten really good about that. Now I have to do the same thing with knitting. It's just hard because you see a skein of yarn and you think pair of socks, or see 2 skeins together and you go shawl. You can see the potential for it. Like you could come up with a project and do it right away. Where with quilting, you know, you're like, oh, I can see how these fabrics will work well for a quilt, but you're not thinking like, I know the pattern, I know this or that right off the top of your head. There's a lot more prep and creativity that needs to go into it to really get it to be a quilt. So yarn is easier to purchase because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. In some cases, you can literally visualize your finished project. So that's all I have for all the yarny bits. I'm gonna end here for my craftiness stuff, and then I'm gonna tack on a section that just shows some pictures and a little bit of what my journey was, my trip to Israel, Palestine in May. All right. I'll see you guys later. My hope is I should totally be able to podcast in 2 weeks again. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see each other soon. All right. Take care.